Hi, good people. This is Deborah. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Um, this is part 8 of the series that I had going in Revelation. This is Revelation 3 7 through 13. Now, I'm going to read part of my disclaimer. Uh, well, let's see. I will use words not intended to offend people, but to describe my point of view and how I see things. Take what resonate with you and what does not resonate with you, put it on the shelf or throw it away. Uh, like I said, this is Revelation 3, chapter 3, verse 7 to 13. In this particular one, they say that the pineal gland um, is the uh, crown chakra, but it's not. They never talk about the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, which is the crown chakra. Uh, this particular video, these scriptures are talking about your crown. But I know the crown chakra is the pituitary gland, which is the master. Now, if you take a look at Greek concordance number G4735 and G1238, it will give you stepanos. Stepanos means crown. Uh, the Greek word for crown or garland. It refers to wreath, or chaplet, typically made of leaves, which was awarded to victors in athlete contests or as a symbol of honor. It often implies a reward for perseverance or victory. The scripture context of in Revelation 3:11, the crown referred to here is not a physical one, but uh, symbolizes the spiritual victory and the eternal reward for those who overcome trials. It is the spiritual crown of glory, reflecting triumph over worldly temptations and challenges. The G1238 means diadema, which is the crown as well, refers to a royal crown. Now, this term signifies a symbol of authority, sovereignty, and kingship. In the Bible, it often associated with I'm going to say, Christ's authority and divine reign. Scripture message. While the word is not used directly in Revelation 3 7 through 13, understanding the Dalmel helps to clarify that the crown in Revelation symbolizes divine kingship or eternal authority. Now, just keep in mind who were the writers of the Bible. It was the the brotherhood. Now, let's look at verse 7. Not going to read the scriptures, but I'm going to give you what I understood it in an esoteric form. Uh, Verse 7 introduces the figure of Christ, which y'all say Christ and you say Holy Spirit, but I call it the feminine aspect of ourselves, which is the Spirit of truth, who holds the key of David, which is the authority of the control over access to the kingdom of the Most High. Verse 8, sorry, I got sniffles today. Verse 8 speaks of the open door set before the awakened in the church of Philadelphia. Philadelphia means the brotherly, symbolizes spiritual opportunity and eternal access, encourages the awakened to hold fast to their truth and not deny the name of God. It has God written in there. I did put that in there. In order to connect with the higher spiritual realm, one must first align with their soul first. Got to align with your soul. Got to. That's the only way you're gonna enter into the spirit, back into the spirit, the higher spiritual realm. Embracing the feminine energy within that guides the path of transformation. It means you're going through change. Just keep in mind, energy it cannot be destroyed, but it can be manipulated, which is what they do. And they're giving you TV stuff, when they're giving you videos, when they send forth people out in the community to tell you something, because they know that change can take place through the ear and through the eyes. So energy can transform. They call it alchemy, or it can, yeah, it changes, but it cannot be destroyed. Uh, Now, in order to connect with the higher spirit realm, one must first align with their soul truth, embracing the feminine energy with the guide, the path to transformation. When the heart and soul are open, the door to wisdom remains open, allowing spiritual insight to flow freely. Verse 9 talks about those who will eventually acknowledge the truth, referring to false followers or spiritual deceivers. Verse 10 premises protection, promises protection from the trial to come, a time of testing for the world. Uh, it says Jesus, and I put Jesus by mistake. Uh, Promises protection, but it's your soul. Promise protection, from the hour of trial, by strengthening you through the process. Not saying you're not going to go through trial, you're just going to be strengthened while you're going through it. And it will give you, the soul will give you right decisions to make while you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with. And it's true because, if you, like me, pay attention to your thoughts, and then after your thoughts come in your head for you to do something, you be like, wow, okay. So verse 10 promises protection for the trial to come, a time of testing for the world. Uh, Promises protection for the hour of trial that will come upon the world. The feminine ability to nurture, protect the self from the distractions and the illusions of an eternal world. Which what's going on right now. The feminine soul is the guardian that keeps, one rooted in spiritual truth, shielding individuals from the trials that come with the ego driven desires and external pressures. Yeah. What's going on now? There's so many things going on. You got people that are marching, uh, at the White House right now as I speak, and you got people that are, well, protesting, and you got people that are doing various things because of fear right now. Um, I'm going to give you some examples of what people go through because of their belief. Because we don't focus on other countries individually. Uh, I don't, take notice, with what goes on TV and the news, because I don't believe it to be truth. Now, but what I do, when I see a video that talks about a particular country, I go on my game. I told you I'm on secondlife.com. I go on my game and I talk to people in that country, and they tell you. And the wonderful thing about knowing stuff is that they have a translator on the game that you can talk to whoever in the entire world. Now, North Korea is considered one of the most oppressive regime for Christians. Practicing Christianity can lead to imprisonment, torture, and even execution. Now, there's so many things going on in other countries. Sometimes we, being here in America, we take things so for granted. But we whether you want to accept it or not, we are a collective of people all around the world. In the Middle East countries, like Iraq, Syria, and Saudi Arabia, Christians face discrimination, violence, and forced displacement because of their faith. Churches have been attacked, and believers are sometimes forced to worship in secret. I thought that took place some years ago, but not in my time. I had no idea that they were still doing that. In China, while China officially allows religious practice, there are strict controls over religion. Christians face pressure from the government, including surveillance, church closures, and forced re-education. In Nigeria, in parts of Nigeria, particularly in the north, Christians face attacks for extremist groups like Boko Haram, who target them for their faith. Churches are bombed and believers are often kidnapped. Now, in this end time, the end time is transitioning from one age to another. We were in the Pisces age. That's when you focus on a male being your savior. In this Aquarius time period, we would no longer focus on anybody, but just go within, because the soul is the one that's connected to the great mother and father, is going to be our teacher. We're in that period now, good people. Now, in many religions and spiritual interpretations, the end time of the age of Pisces, that's what it is, don't just refer to physical events like wars and natural disasters, but also a period of personal and collective transformation. Them changes, we got things in us that got to go. So if you're feeling stressed, that's a part of it. It's okay. Just hang in there. Keep on striving to be a better person, because that's what you want. And all of you go back to your spiritual high spiritual self. You have to accept those things that your soul is pointing out to you that needs to be let go, or let go. People will undergo a process of tearing down old structures, old belief system, believing in that, believing in this, and ways of living. You may find yourself, oh, I liked it, material stuff. Now I don't like it no more like I used to. See, where I'm at today, I was not in a place of, I was making money, so I was prideful and arrogant. And so where I'm at today, I use money for its purpose, and that's it. It does not control me. It did, because when I worked, I used to work very hard to get promotions so I can get more money. It was all about that money for me when I was working. I'm telling you the truth. And I worked hard. So, like I say, people are going to go through uh, the process. The spirit is tearing down by showing you things that you have buried. You thought you buried and put it away forever, but it's resurfacing now, and you're going to be forced to deal with it if you're not already doing that. And so all the beliefs of different types of things that's no longer good for you, good for you, you're going to be forced to deal with it. uh and building up, and you will be with right along with the soul will help you build new ones in alignment with the higher truth and spiritual understanding. That's what's going on in the period of Aquarius. Now the shift from Pisces to Aquarius, again, I might have went ahead of myself talking instead of reading, but I still like to write down my thoughts so I won't miss the point that I'm trying to make. The age of Pisces is often associated with faith and sacrifice. That's what Pisces dealt with. Many people have followed traditional religious belief with an emphasis of surrounding to human authorities like pastors. There's going to come a time in this period that those of you that are worshiping pastors, those of you that are worshiping, you don't know you worshiping them, but you are. You put them before your inner self, and that's going to cease. If you don't do it on your own, you're going to be forced to stop. I'm gonna tell you that now. If you got a soul, because that soul will, woo, that soul will get you. There has been a focus on belief systems in the Pisces time period, in the Pisces age. Now, in the Aquarius age, which is now, is associated with individuality, enlightenment, and collective awakening. This age is linked to the rise of spiritual growth. Uh, Technology is here, as you know about AI, and unity is going to take place. The focus shift from external authorities like organized religion and leaders to inner wisdom, universal truth, and the collective good. People going to focus on helping one another because that's what we did in the ancient times. We were there for one another. It's going to go back to that period. Now, this period of transitioning, if you're hating, whoo, I feel sorry for you. Because I used to hate, and I don't hate no more. I used to, during my marriage, I went through a period of hate with my ex husband. Ooh, I'm so happy that's not there anymore. This period of transition is tearing down because old systems, old ways that's not good for you, it has to be torn down. Whether it's belief, the power structures that are here, all that is going to come down. Uh, the social norms as you knew it is not going to be there no more. It's got to go too. Uh, Everything is being questioned and dismantled. People will experience disruptions, which is what's going on now. And I don't focus on it too much because I got my son to tell me what's going on. So we have coffee. Well, we drink hot chocolate every morning. But this is a necessary part of personal growth and global transformation. It's necessary. Now, in this message, the end time symbolizes the end of old ways of thinking that no longer serve the higher purpose of human growth. Now, at the same time, building up refers to the establishment of new, more harmonious ways of being. People will develop a deeper connection to their inner selves, embrace compassionate and combined values, and work together to create a better world. It's going to happen, good people. Verse 11 says, "Do not stay in the crown of thorns." Now, I just want to let you know that the word crown means corona. That started taking place back during the time when we were going through that period of corona. Some people aren't able to handle change. So a lot of people passed on from this world into the place in which wherever they needed to go. Do not stay in the crown of thorns because that is considered to be The crown of thorns is when you are fighting against your ego, will have you fight it against truth, where you would call truth lies, but actually it's truth. That's what the ego, that's what the crown of thorn is. It's your ego fighting. And so if you're fighting today within yourself and wrestling within yourself, just like Jacob did, did not wrestle with an angel. Jacob was wrestling with his higher self. That was symbolic. And that's what we do when we wrestle with our higher self, because we get so complacent. We have gotten so complacent and thinking that what we know has been the truth, and what we have known has been an illusion. And so the soul comes along and say, hey, it's time you let that go. You don't sit on that for about 20 years. It's time you let that go. Because I got some new stuff to tell you. And so uh don't stay there. And don't stay in victim mode when you're going through your suffering and your trials. Don't stay in victim mode, because when you stay in victim mode, it's hard to come out. But the promise to help to the crown of glory. So what happens is the soul take you from the crown of thorns to the crown of glory, which symbolize the eternal reward. It's a reminder that despite hardship, you will ultimately be lifted to a mental place of eternal honor and peace in God's kingdom. Where's God's kingdom? In you. Just keep that in mind. God's kingdom is in you. It ain't nowhere outside of you. The kingdom is within. Verse 12. Made a pillar in the temple of God symbolizes becoming a stable and unshakable part of God's eternal presence. It signifies that God's presence will remain forever within your heart, in you, because now you allow the spirit of truth to do his thing, which is the soul to do his thing. And so you have learned to go into that place inside of you and stay there. See, and what we're doing now, we're going in and out, in and out, in and out. So, but there's going to come a time where people are going to go in that godly space within themselves and stay there. And so when you get to that place, well, let me just finish reading, because I always go ahead of myself sometimes. It signifies that God's presence will remain forever within the heart, never to be disconnected. Verse 13. Wherever Whoever has ears, let them hear calls awaken to listen to spiritual and open our hearts to the message, discernment. It's an invitation to fully receive and allow the change to take place by teaching of the soul. Only the soul can teach you truth, leading to transformation and deeper communion. You will go through when the soul is talking to you, and you are a person that have addictions to things that you want gone. When you start listening to the soul, it is the soul that will give you strength to get rid of those things. The human body, the human mind cannot, because the body itself naturally craves things. And so those kind of things are removed only through the power of the soul, because that's where the power is. In Revelation 3 7 through 13, the message to the church of Philadelphia speaks to the doorway of higher realm access, a gate that opens to higher realms of spiritual truth and understanding. The key of David, it was no man named David, symbolized the feminine soul, the sacred channel through which one must pass to enter into a higher spiritual realm. The door of Christ speaks of a verse, and verse 7 represents the gateway to higher wisdom. It is through the feminine energy of the soul that individuals are able to enter, and align themselves with higher will. The masculine energy, which is represented by Jesus as the guide, no Jesus, but it was a metaphor, cannot open the door to the higher realm without the feminine aspects acting as the key, which is why the key of David is directly tied to spiritual transformation. The feminine energy is the means through which the higher connection is made, as represents the self path of spiritual growth and enlightenment. Now, keep in mind, I've said in previous videos, if you are a female and you're operating in your masculine, you must get into your feminine to understand spiritual things. Just because you look like a female doesn't mean you're operating in your feminine aspects of yourself. Okay? You have to allow your feminine side to help you spiritually. And if you are a male, males are masculine, and masculine focus on the physical. Now, also, the masculine has access to the third and fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is up there where that moon is. But the masculine cannot go past that fourth dimension. Therefore, you being a masculine, you have to connect to your feminine to go past that fourth dimension. So for females, you have to connect with your feminine aspect. For males, you have to connect with your feminine aspect to go past the fourth dimension. Now, the pituitary gland associated with the crown chakra. They've told you in the past that the crown chakra was the pineal gland. No, it's not. So the pituitary gland associated with the crown chakra represent the feminine energy that connects the soul to a higher spiritual realm. The soul embodying all nine senses is the true vehicle for accessing the higher realms, wisdom, and spiritual truth. The soul, through its connection to the pituitary gland, opens the path to spiritual elevation, guiding the individual toward alignment with the eternal and universal understanding. The pineal gland, which is linked with the third eye chakra, represent the masculine energy. The pineal serves as the point of perception and awareness of the lower spiritual realm. The lower spiritual realm is the fourth dimension. That is the lower spiritual realm because it's connected to the earth. The earth is the lower spirit. The earth is the lower realm. Okay. And so, therefore, the fourth dimension is connected to the earth realm. It plays a role in regulating the connection to the physical and energetic realm, bridging the material world with the spiritual awareness. The masculine can connect to the fourth dimension because the fourth dimension is connected to the earth, but it does not govern intuition. You cannot, intuition belongs to the feminine. So you have to connect with your feminine side to have intuition, because intuition comes from the higher realm. When the pineal gland allows access to the lower realm and the energetic perception, it is the soul through the pituitary gland that truly governs the access to higher spiritual dimension. The feminine soul is the key to unlocking the eternal and achieving spiritual awakening, while the masculine pineal gland helps navigate the transitional realms of the spiritual journey. When that masculine connects with his feminine, oh my goodness, that's the marriage. When the masculine in both female and male connect together, not outside of yourself, because you have one individual holds the feminine and masculine within. When that feminine and masculine join together as one within, that's the marriage that Jesus talks about. When he talks about the bride, because Jesus represents the masculine, and that's but he's just a metaphor letting you know how to connect with your feminine. So Jesus represent the masculine, uh and how he's supposed to connect with his feminine inside of himself. So he's telling you the story, uh males, how to connect with your self within, and females, you are to connect. You Most females today operate in their masculine, and I would say probably 70% of women operate in their masculine. Why? Because she's forced to operate, because she have not been taught the proper way of dealing with herself. Going to church, you won't get it, because they're not going to teach you that. Going to an all male, uh 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 what do you call it, all male congregation, you're not going to get it, because he's going to talk about what they need to do. But maybe they don't understand it either. I don't know. But I have been around many different churches and organizations, not just in Atlanta, but I traveled in certain states with my mother. Now, there's two types of crowns. The crown of thorn, and I told you earlier, it was, if you look it up, it is the corona. That's the lower nature. That's the suffering. Uh, the When Jesus was on the cross, represent you. You that if you look at the cross, it represents human. Okay, so on that cross represent the flesh. Okay, Jesus was showing the flesh, the ego, whatever you want to call it, on the cross. That crown of thorn that was wrapped around it's all that was symbolic. That represents your suffering. The lower nature. The lower nature suffers because of ignorance. Once the lower nature get wind or understanding of who that what is connected to, then it comes up out of the crown of thorn, because it no longer says woe is me. It's no longer the victim, and it's no longer making all kinds of decisions that causes pain and suffering for yourself. Why? Because now you have humbled, the ego has humbled itself to let the soul come in to do its thing. And the soul is the feminine aspects of you, because only the soul can go higher than the fourth dimension. Now, the crown of thorn represents humanity's suffering and lower nature. It symbolizes the human ego. Sin. What is sin? Sin is turning from the truth. You once knew it, but we all turned from it. Uh, and our challenges in the lower self. The thorns themselves represent the painful experiences we go through. Jesus wearing this crown shows us how to endure suffering and transcend it. Transcend it. That's all it is. It's just a metaphor. The crown of thorn, which is the corona, symbolizes the lower aspects of human nature, suffering, ego, and the trials of life, which must be overcome in the journey towards spiritual victory and enlightenment. Cross suffering is letting go of the dominant ego. The ego is very dominant. It's so dominant, and it is very ignorant, because it think it knows everything. I know, because I walked in it in my early years, in my 20s, which is the path that leads to the crown of glory for those who overcome the ego. Because the ego, what it does for you, it puts you in bondage. because it focuses on the physical way of thinking. It you have to it has to have the spiritual aspects of it connected to it to help it. Uh, the ego does. The ego is not going to go away, but it will be. The soul will help it to understand things so it could be in harmony with itself, and that's what it is. The feminine energy is the first to bear suffering, offering compassion, humility, and healing for others. The path of transformation. The crown of thorns symbolizes the inner journey we must face. The feminine energy takes on the weight of the lower aspects of life, experiencing pain and humility, but ultimately transforming this into a spiritual victory. The feminine energy leads the way for the masculine energy to follow in action and insertion, rising above the lower nature. Now, the crown of glory, the highest spiritual reward, the feminine imbalance, the crown chakra, and the spiritual victory. In Revelation 3:11, the crown that Christ promised represents spiritual victory, a crown that symbolizes enlightenment, eternal wisdom, eternal connection. I put God, but with the Most High, with the Great Mother. Uh, this crown is linked to the crown chakra, the highest spiritual center at the top of the head. It's at the top of the head. Uh, it symbolizes the balance between our feminine and masculine energy. Remember, you can't destroy energy, but it can be changed. It could be transformed. It goes through alchemy, where feminine wisdom, intuition, and receptibility lead the way for masculine action, logic, direction. Together, they form a unified whole, leading to spiritual wholeness and ultimate reward. Remember, Jesus said to the woman that she must be whole. She was operating in her lower self. When you're operating in your lower self, you need your higher self to pick you up to help you become a better person. You can't do it by yourself. If you could do it by yourself, you wouldn't have a spiritual self. Now, keep in mind, too, you can be in the low nature and the spirit as well, because the fourth dimension is a lower dimension. Okay, so the feminine as the gateway. The crown chakra represent the highest state of spiritual awareness, where the feminine energy opens the gateway to the eternal, connecting us to the universe. This spiritual crown represents victory and the spiritual transformation that occurs as the feminine energy has fully lifted the masculine and its balance. It's a place of wholeness, completion, and eternal harmony found within the temple of God. Then it in the temple of God, you are the temple and God is within you. That spark that came down from the mother, which is within the self, the eternal presence inside each person. Pillars in the temple, the feminine and stability. Those who overcome and remain loyal will be made pillars in the temple of God in Revelation 3:12, which is inside of you. You will connect with the God inside of you. Now, this is not just a metaphor for external places, but also refers to the spiritual temple within. The crown chakra at the top of the head, where the feminine energy first connects us to the eternal. As pillars, we become spiritually stable, grounded in eternal wisdom and guidance. The temple of God within us represent the highest spiritual connection, with feminine energy and the foundation and the source of strength. In conclusion, in Revelation 3 7 through 13, the crown symbols represents two things: the spiritual victory represented by uh, Bible Concordance G4735, Stephanos, which is a reward of perseverance, and represent the crown chakra, the highest spiritual center within the human being. The crown is about spiritual enlightenment, the union of the feminine and masculine energy, the eternal connection, that marriage within each individual, not each individual connected to the male and female. The male having his feminine and masculine connected inside of him as a marriage, the female having her feminine and masculine connected together in marriage as within. It's a state of spiritual wholeness and completion. The temple of God within us, which is the crown chakra, is where the eternal resides. And the pillars are the inner stability that comes when we activate our highest spirit, highest spiritual. We activate it by allowing the soul to do its thing within us. The soul is going to come at you in a way that is going to seem strange, and it may appear to be demonic to you because you have been complacent. We have been complacent. And so the soul is wakening us up because it's necessary. This leads to a new identity, which is the ultimate reward and crown promised to those who remain true. Now, in this way, the crown of thorns and the crown of chakra, specifically the crown chakra, both represent important stages in the spiritual journey, from suffering to enlightenment, and the balance of feminine and masculine energy, which leads to the reward of eternal connection with the eternal. Now, I have given you this particular scripture occasionally. If you go and look at Ezekiel 18:20, it says this: the soul who sins shall die. The son shall not suffer for the father's iniquity, nor the father suffer for the son's iniquity. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon himself, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon himself. Pretty much letting you know nobody can die for and nobody died for nobody. You are responsible for your own salvation. You've heard that. And this verse emphasizes individual responsibility for one's action and personal accountability before God. In this period that we are in today, you are going to be held accountable. You're going to be forced to be accountable because that's what Aquarius does. Fortunate for me, I'm a Virgo. And so, because I'm a Virgo, I've had to deal with gestation all my life. I've had to be corrected all my life. And so, it doesn't affect me as much as it probably would affect quite a few people. Because if you have been burying things that you should have handled, that's going to be a little tough for you. There were quite a few things that I had buried myself and stayed busy in doing so because I didn't want to deal with it. And when it finally came up again, after some 20 years later, I'm like, oh my God, I got to deal with that. Yeah, I had to deal with that. And I'm telling you, based on my experience, am I saying everything that I experienced you're going to experience? No, I'm not saying that. But I pull a lot of things that are in the Bible, which is where a lot of people are. um, and I'm giving you my understanding of it. I'm also tying in my experiences that I have had. Uh, because after a while, you may suffer. When you're suffering, you're gonna be crying, and you go through a period of pointing the fingers. Why I have to go through this and this and that. You're gonna go through that, but don't stay there. Because once you get into a victim mode, man, it's hard to come out that mode right there. I was in that mode when I uh, didn't have a job, didn't have no marriage no more. My children turned against me. My family turned against me. That was a hard spot to be in, and I was a victim. But one day I got up and I rose, and I've been up ever since. And that's been almost 25 years ago. You have to get up. You have to get up out of that. You got to persevere. You got to become a warrior in this time period that we're in, because you're going to see some things that's going to take place in this earth, and it's going to look like somebody winning, but they ain't winning. They think they winning, but they ain't winning, because the creator is not going to allow things to be the way it used to be. This is a new beginning for everybody, and everybody got to go through a process. It's just like that thing that talks about the refiner going through the fire over in Malachi 3:3. That's real, people. That's a real thing. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and hopefully, you do your own studies, you do your own discernment. I always tell you, take what resonate and what does not resonate, put it on the shelf or throw it away. And I have to say this real quickly. My son says that when I say put it on the shelf, he interpreted that I was saying I know what I'm talking about. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying sometimes when you're busy and you're trying to listen to something that may be important to you, you're going to be distracted. And I'm just saying that when I say put it on the shelf, so when you're not so busy, take a look at it again. And then if it's not what you know it to be or should be, just throw it away. Don't get caught up in nothing else. Because my son and I, we talk a lot, because he represents, as far as I'm concerned, he represents the world of people that I have to deal with when I do deal with them. And it's a beautiful thing because I learn from him. And it's just a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing not to want people to believe like you believe. It's a beautiful thing to have a versatile of different types of people. It's just, for me it is. But anyway, guys, take care. Until the next video, you should be getting video part 9 coming up soon. Take care.